Hello, folks, and welcome to the Counting Sheep podcast, episode 17. My name is Ruth, and I will be your host today. Welcome to my little spot in the fiber universe. I'm coming to you from my small sheep farm in Vermont, where we are having some colder weather now. Finally, we've had rain, snow, rain on top of snow. Yeah. So quite a mix of things going on. A whole bunch of wind, which led to some power outages in the state. But just so you know, we've got snow finally on the ground, and it's nice to see that. You're supposed to have snow on the ground up here in January. So I welcome all of you. Welcome back if you've been with me for a while or for just a couple. And welcome to all those new people who have decided to give me a go. I hope you find something that you resonate with here on the podcast. My podcast is mostly fiber related. I talk about crochet, knitting, spinning, and general wool craft. The other bits and pieces are what I get up to when I'm not doing those things. Sometimes I cook, sometimes I make things like soap and candles, and they're all just hobbies of mine that keep me busy throughout the weeks and days. If you have a question about anything, please comment below. I'd love to hear from you. And suggestions are welcome as well. So if you have something that you'd want to see, just let me know, and we'll see if we can show it. So I haven't been showing my sheep lately. They're out in the barn, and kind of this time of year they really welcome the snow because that's how they get most of their moisture. They don't drink from the water pail as much in the wintertime, even though we have it out and we have a heating element in it so it doesn't freeze over. But they tend to be grazers normally, so they have their head to the ground, and so whatever's on the ground they consume. And this time of year it's usually snow. So, and that's how they get most of their hydration. So if they will put up with me filming them on a good day with some good light, I can perhaps share that with you as well. All right, so enough of the intro. I am going to jump right in, first with crochet, and then we'll move on to knitting, and then I have a little bit of spinning. And yeah, so let's just address what I have on right now, which is a finished object, crocheted finished object. I did get some footage of me in the cardigan. My husband helped me out, so I won't be spinning around here on right now because I'll probably knock everything over, knowing me. But I will take this off because I am getting a little warm right now, just so I can show you the stitch work and that sort of thing. So this is the Bule cardigan. And this is a design by Sandra Gutierrez of the Nomad Stitches podcast and business. And this was one of those projects that I started long ago, and I had decided back in the fall that I was going to take out all those projects that I'd been have been kind of languishing. So anyway, here is the cardigan up close and personal. And as you can see in the bodice, there's a different patterning of mosaic crochet than there is kind of below the bodice. Oops. Kind of below the bodice. And then what I did was I carried that bodice patterning into the sleeve for a bit, right to the top of the elbow, and then I proceeded to go with the patterning from the rest of the cardigan. So you can see it best on the back, of course. So There it is. And this is simply gorgeous. And I had this on when we were out walking Cooper this morning, and it is comfy cozy, nice and squishy. It's a beautiful yarn. I think I've mentioned the yarn. Excuse me, I just dropped something. Drop a lot of stuff on the floor. If you're new here, you'll get used to it. So the main color is that beigey color there. And that is from Earl Grey Fiber Company. And they call it their Matcha Sport. And it's a 3-ply, 100% superwash merino. The pattern does call for a fingering weight yarn. The other two, let's see if I can find the other ball band. I had it here. There we go. Never mind. Scratch what I said. The top color, background color, is this purple haze. The bottom one, which has more of the aqua color to it, is Spontaneous Concert by the Haynes House Yarns. And so that's my Kit's Bule. I used a 4.5 millimeter hook. And once I sat and spent some time with this, it went very quickly. So, and I'm so happy it's done. I did find some buttons. I got these really small buttons from the Woolly Thistle. That's an online knitting and crochet website. So yeah, highly recommend. I'm going to leave this off for now. Actually, I'm going to put it behind me in case I do get a little chilly. All right, let me go back to where I was. I mentioned all of the particulars with that. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave them down below and I'll see if I can answer them like I said before. The next thing I wanted to show you is something I haven't shown you in a while. It's kind of a project I work on in the background. It stays on the couch. And every time I have like a little bit of leftover fingering yarn from a project, I'll add a square. And this pattern is called the Crochet Memories Blanket Pattern. And it's by Hannah Sigmund. And Hannah has a very nice crochet podcast. It's called the Cozy Cottage Crochet Podcast. And this particular pattern is actually available for just $1 on Ravelry. So well worth the money because it's so much fun and it's almost potato chippy. You almost wish you had like some leftovers when you're all out of leftovers. Just add another square when you feel like it. So anyway, this is from all sorts of different leftovers. But I wanted to show it to you this time because I've added quite a few squares to it. I'm going to back up a little bit. These squares down here, yeah, I think there's 5 of them. Yeah, all together. Or 6, this gray one, maybe. Gray. Yeah. They all were leftover yarns from my advent calendar this year. I had enough leftovers, except for one color. There were 6 colors altogether, I believe, in the advent, and I believe it was the off-white that I just didn't have enough of. But the rest of them I had enough of to add squares to this, and so I'm so happy that I was able to. And then of course this one is from the Kit's Bule cardigan as well as this one. So very cool. Yeah, and I didn't have enough of the top the purple haze color left over. I mean, I really I got that down to very little yardage towards the end because I worked it into the sleeves and, you know, the bodice and that sort of thing. So there was very little left of that to really add another square. But I love it because you can always look at this and go, oh, that was a pair of socks, oh, that came from that cardigan. And so Crochet Memories blanket is a very appropriate name for this. And it's got a nice drape to it with the fingering. It is a corner to corner, but you add the squares corner to corner, and Hannah does a great job of showing you how to add the squares. And I think she also has a video tutorial on it. Yeah, I think she does. Yeah, I remember watching it. So if you go over to her channel, it's the Cozy Cottage Crochet Podcast. She's an absolute delight. She has 2 little ones at home, and I really don't know how she gets around to doing all that she does. I think I've said before, I'm tired just watching her. So, so that's the the Crochet Memories blanket by Cozy Cottage Crochet, Hannah Sigmund, and she has other patterns too that she has designed. Some really nice scarves, hats. Yeah, so check her out. Yeah, definitely worth it. All right, so that's another ongoing whip. And then here's my other ongoing whip. I mentioned in my last podcast that I was going to do this. I have a whole boatload of piece fleece yarn. They're worsted weight. They have a sport weight and they have a worsted weight. And actually, I just realized that the yarn is kind of hard to get a hold of right now. The spinning mill, I think, that does it, their dyeing mill went out of business. So I think there's kind of a, you know, as always, a supply chain interruption post-COVID. And so I think it's going to be more and more difficult to get, but I'm not sure. Like I said, I have a boatload of this yarn because I was going to use it in a temperature blanket. And I've started a temperature blanket twice now with this yarn, and I have just kind of stalled without even getting out of January. It was either from boredom, like I think the first blanket I attempted to do was just rows of single crochet. Well, I got bored with that really fast. And then the second time I thought I was going to try to do some kind of corner to quarter thing, and I made the squares too big, and so that took more time, more chunk of time out of the day than I had at the time to devote to it. And so I think I've found kind of a sweet spot here. I purchased this calendar. It's called A Year of Crochet Stitches. And it's a Stitch a Day perpetual calendar by Jill Wright. And I think I sent away for this, but I think Amazon has it. But anyway, as it says, every day you get a different stitch pattern to learn if you don't know, or, you know, just to do. And I decided to turn it into kind of an organic blanket and use up my piece fleece yarn at the same time. So I have 10 different colors of piece fleece. But anyway, I just wanted to show you how far I've gotten so far. I haven't added today's square color or whatever. I'm kind of working in squares and rectangles so I can keep this under control in terms of its size, or not size, but shape. I have blocked this once already because, not that it got really out of hand, it was just kind of almost, it was kind of obsessive compulsive thing for me to like just keep it as square as possible as I went along. And this particular yarn does block out very nicely, and there's a nice drape to it as well. So, but I just wanted to show you the different stitch patterns so far this year, and this was yesterday's, so kind of a lacy thing, but this was the day before, and I thought this wasn't going to really work out because in the actual picture on the calendar, it looked like it was just holes or loops or whatever. But it turns out it kind of lays back on itself and creates this really neat texture. So, but yeah, it's so cool. I'm trying to keep the pieces kind of smallish. I mean, I started with this square right here where the stitch marker is. And I progressively got a little bit bigger, and now I'm trying to rein it back in because this thing has the potential of getting really huge. Good that it will be using up the yarn. And I may not get through the whole calendar, but we'll see. If I run out of piece fleece, then I can finish the calendar off with something else. I certainly have enough stash kicking around here. But yeah, very organic, very like go as you feel, you know. And so I'm really excited about this. I think it'll be a nice throw or something even bigger, you know, to keep on the back of the couch. So yeah, so those are my two that I keep on the back of the couch, the Memories blanket and also this one, which I haven't named yet. If you have any ideas for naming this, because it is kind of avant-garde, let me know down in the comments. I would be so thrilled to get a suggestion for a name for this. But it's so much fun. It really is. I mean, I can't. I'm having so much fun. I thought for sure I was going to run into a glitch somewhere with, you know, oh, the stitch pattern is just not going to fit in here or whatever. And I gave myself the leeway to just say, well, maybe I'll just skip that day or whatever, because I certainly have enough days of the year and enough yarn to make a blanket. So, but yeah, we'll see. I'm glad that I was able to get this far with it. So yeah, cool stuff. Enjoying that a lot. All right, so you know that I am, in my heart of hearts, a sweater maker. And so because I was able to finish up the Bule cardigan, I was on the hunt for another project. And what's come across my radar just recently is, if you watch Zines and Rogers, it's a crochet podcast. Rosina is the host, and she is running a crochet cardigan cowl, which I believe started on Saturday. Just going to take a sip here. She has a couple of really wonderful crochet cardigan patterns out. She just released one, I believe, and there's another one that has just been released from a magazine that she had it published in. Anyway, beautiful work. She does lovely work. And I sort of had one cardigan on my radar because I happen to be a member of Plyful.com, which is Sandra Gutierrez's kind of online crochet forum. And every month there's a new pattern that comes out. And she just released her Camilla cardigan. I have a thing with that name because I did a shawl with that name. But anyway, I must be attracted to that somehow. But anyway, so she released this pattern, and I was pretty in awe of it, and went and bought some yarn for it. And then she had just recently she had a designer on, and her name is Courtney Clark, and Courtney's business name is Tinderbox Designs, and she released a pattern called a Henley. I believe it's called the Olive, and it's a Henley, and a Henley is just a sweater with a like a halfway button placket on it, so it doesn't go all the way down. It's not a true cardigan. It just goes down to about here. That one was done in a DK, and I thought, God, that's really nice. But then I started searching around her other patterns. She has a lot of patterns, and I don't know why she hasn't sprung up on my radar before now. But that's what Plyful's all about, I think, is exposing you to a lot of different people that maybe you just, for whatever reason, are unaware of them. But Courtney has actually done another pattern for a Henley in fingering weight yarn. And that was the yarn that I had bought to make the Camilla cardigan. And so now I'm kind of on the Henley thing because I've never done a Henley before. Done loads of cardigans, but I haven't done a Henley. So that whole nuance type feeling about doing something new and the new year kind of grabbed me, and so I'm kind of taking off with it. But anyway, let me just, I'm talking a lot. This is the actual sweater, the Henley. It's called the Laurel Henley. And I believe this is actually Courtney modeling it. And she's done it in a gray. And it comes in 9 sizes, which is great. It looks like there's 4 buttons on it. But I kind of like that. I haven't made a Henley at all, ever. So I think it's about time, right? And I do like working with a fingering weight yarn and crochet, I have to say. There's less bulk, it's a little lighter, the drape is better. And so I want to just share the yarn that I got for this. And so shield your eyes, it's a little bright, but I love it. I mean, it's a lemon yellow, and actually the name is Lemon, the color name. This is from Jagger Spun, and Jagger Spun is a spinning mill in Maine, so Northeast New England represented here. It's 100% merino, superwash. Actually, no, let me back up. It just says 100% superwash wool, and it's 435 yards to 100 grams, and it is buttery soft. So, buttery soft lemon. So I have more than enough of this because I had kind of designated, I bought enough yardage for a cardigan, and so if whatever I have left over, I can always use for socks and that sort of thing. But I'm just, for some reason, on a yellow kick. I love looking at a really nicely saturated yellow. So I haven't swatched for this yet, but stay tuned. Like I said, I always like to have some kind of cardigan, sweater, whatever on the hook. So, yeah, maybe you feel the same way. I don't know. I'd be interested in knowing, especially around this time of year, get the itch to like start all the things, whether it's crocheting or knitting. And I can't tell you where my mind was in such a buzz the other day of all these different projects, and I just had decided that I was going to parse everything out and see what was possible. But also in keeping it with my intention of, for every new thing that I start, I really will pull out an old thing and finish that as well. So I think that's a good way to balance it all out. But yeah, so this is once again the Laurel Henley. It's Tinderbox Designs. It's Courtney Cox. And I am going to try, she recommends a 4mm hook, so I will try that first and see where we're at with the gauge. Alrighty, I think that's all the crochet I have to show. I'm going to move on to knitting now. I have a half-finished object to report. I really worked hard on these because I really wanted to show, you know, I really wanted to dedicate this and get something done. So anyway, this is, I showed this last time, Home Sweet Socks by Alicia Plummer. And I got my first sock done. So you can see this little house here, so stinking adorable. And here are little houses down here, and upside down houses up here. But anyway, I got it done. See, all done. I just have some stitch markers here to help me kind of place the toe, because I don't keep track of my rows here. Well, I was, and then I got distracted, and you know how that goes. This is a German short row heel, which works fine with my foot, but I know some of the short row heels don't work well if you have a high is it instep or arch? It must be an instep or arch or something. But anyway, this this actual distance here. So anyway, here's my second one. Believe it or not, this is like da 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 da. So I got it started. I got the color work done, and I turned the heel. So I am dang proud of myself. It's not that I get stuck with socks for some reason, Once the interesting part is done, I start to wander. I start to get bored, or I don't know. I don't know what it is, and it's not like the heel is an interesting part of the sock, but but when I get to the foot, here's where I'm going to get hung up. So I have to just keep this in front of me so that I can get it done. The yarns, the greenish kind of yarn, the main color is Socks That Rock from, I want to get this right, Blue Moon Fiber Arts. The colorway is Field and Stream. And I'm using size 0 needles. This nice little off-white is from the Unique Sheep. Also, an indie dyer. She's down in Florida. This is 100% superwash merino in the colorway tan. And I have more than enough left of this to do another patterned sock. I really like the socks now that have a little bit of interest going on the leg, and then the foot, which I get bored with, is all stockinette. I'm not a big fan of having a lot of bulk around the foot, like textured stitches or whatever, because I don't even like color work around the foot. I think it tightens the foot a lot. And then the textured stitches add a lot of bulk for me, and I already have a wide foot to begin with, and so trying to jam your foot into shoes along with all that bulk just makes everything go south. So, so I prefer the foot to be kind of plain Jane, if you know what I mean. So once again, that is the Home Sweet Socks by Alicia Plummer. I can actually show you a picture of hers, although they look just like mine. So, except she has the darker color in the pattern work, and the lighter color is the background color. Yeah, fun. I like that one. All right, and then the other one, the next one, oh, I've been working hard on this, is my Star Cardi from Donna Kay. Donna Kay is the designer, and I'm trying to find the card now, and it went on the floor. All right, here is the Star Cardi, and this is a card from the Woolly Thistle, and this colorway obviously is light blue and a darker shade of blue, and I bought a kit for a dark green and a lighter shade of green. And I've shown you this first sleeve already. And this is how far I've gotten from on the second sleeve. Now there's 2 sleeve charts, and this is the end of the first sleeve chart. So it's 73 rows minus the cuff. The cuff is extra rows. So from when the color work starts until here is 73 rows. Yeah, it's gorgeous. This is done in J&S yarn. This is Jamieson and Smith, and it's Shetland wool from the Shetland Islands. And the lighter shade is FC62 mix, they call that. And then this darker shade is shade 34. So they don't have color names, they just have numbers, designations. And I'm really loving this. When I get to the point where I can sit down with this, I find I really prefer to have a chunk of time to at least complete a good chunk of rows. Otherwise I feel like I don't get anywhere. But this is good because now I'm on to the second chart for the sleeve, and once I get that all completed and then do the sleeve cap, the second sleeve will be done. It's a fitted sleeve, so this kind of gives you a rough idea of where I'm at. So this is a very fitted sleeve. The Cardi is meant to fit like a glove. And so yeah, I'm excited to get the second sleeve done because I like working on the body and working in the round and not having to always do a magic loop here and pulling the needle and that sort of thing. Although, color work can be very fun. This is a very, well, it's a fingering weight yarn, so it's very light. And it's also toothy, so if you happen to just drop a stitch inadvertently, it's not going to go anywhere. So that's really the benefit of working with this type of wool, is that this cardigan will eventually be steeked up the front, and the armholes will be steeked as well. So cut open, that yarn isn't going to go anywhere. It's just going to stick to itself. And even though I do secure my steeks, because I'm a crocheter and I do a crocheted steek, and so that's kind of my jam. I like to secure the steeks. So there we go. And more fun with that when we get to it. If you want more kind of information of how I do a steek, sure, we'll get into that. So alrighty, so that is the Star Cardi. I'm using size 3 needles on the main body. I believe the cuffs are done one size down, size 2. And that pattern is available on Ravelry. Alright, so since I've been, knitting on these really tight gauges, one for the sock and then this for the color work, I tend to want to knit something that will almost knit itself. And last year, when I was up in Maine, went into a yarn store in Freeport, and they had a beautiful vest made in bulky weight yarn. And usually I shy away from bulky weight because it's just too much, it's very heavy. But this one was a nice soft bulky weight. And let me back up, I just want to show you what this vest looks like. This is from Elizabeth Smith Knits. She is also a designer from Freeport, so she does a lot of designs for that particular yarn store. Mother of Pearl is the yarn store. I was kind of blanking on the name there. Anyway, this is called the bulky weight layering top. I love a vest, so there's the picture of it. She did hers in a different yarn, but yarn stores being what they are, they have also, this particular yarn store has a whole variety of different bulky weight yarn, which they happen to store right next to the sample garment. This is done on number 11 needles, and so far I've only swatched it. The yarn that I chose, because I cannot ever pass up a Malabrigo, this is called Malabrigo Chunky, and it is in the colorway Tuareg. I'll put it on the screen, but it's color number 98. It's kind of a tealy green blue. So as you can see, pretty chunky. Here are my needles, big chunky needles, and this is my swatch. I swatched in the round, which means this kind of looks a little messy on the back because I floated the yarn around, and this is kind of a faux circular swatch that I did, and I'm kind of happy with it. I'm happy with the drape. It's not too heavy. Yeah, and this yarn is 100% merino, I believe, and it's hand wash. 100% merino, 100 grams, 104 yards. So definitely a bulky weight yarn there. So that, yep. So I'll probably cast this on fairly soon. I'd like to get it knit up before I go back up to Freeport at the end of next month and take you along with me on that particular fiber weekend, which I'll talk more about on another podcast. But yeah, so that is The Icebreaker by Elizabeth Smith. She has a lot of really good patterns as well. They're all knitted. She's a knitwear designer, but they're all very well thought out and just classic pieces. All right, I think that's all for, that's all for knitting and crochet. I just want to mention real quick that I had been spinning on my wheel, but I also started to spin some really unique fiber. And this is actually, I'm doing this on a drop spindle. Sorry for the rustling here. But one year, it was probably 2 or 3 years ago, I got an advent of plant fiber. So every day you opened up a different bag of fiber from different plants, which I thought was the cat's meow. So anyway, this was day 1. I haven't done anything with the fiber since, and I thought, well, since I'm digging stuff out, that includes spinning as well. So, and this is pineapple plant fiber. So you can see it's got kind of a luster to it. And if I separate it out, it's got kind of a long staple as well. But yeah, I thought it would be fun, since I only have a little bit of it, this is about all I have, is to drop spindle when, drop spindles are so portable. When I have a bit of time here and there, I can get some spinning done when I'm waiting for something or whatever. So yeah, I just thought I'd mention that. A lot of people are not aware that you can spin all sorts of things. Cat hair comes to mind, but I would never spin cat hair. That's too short for me, unless you've got a Persian. But yeah, people have spun all sorts of fibers, in the past and still do. So, so I might take you on that journey as well with me in terms of spinning some exotic fibers. And finally, I just want to mention that I finally opened this up. This is one of my intentions was for this year to learn Romanian point lace. And this is a kit that I bought from Elena's RomanianLace.com. I'll put the details on the screen. But this is a really beautiful, let me take it out of the bag because I think we're getting a little bit of glare here. And it's a nice flower. I thought I'd start small. And anyway, Elena's so wonderful. She actually included a sample of what the actual base cord is supposed to look like that you crochet first and then sew lace into. And yeah, so something to shoot for, which is great. I'm looking forward to that. I want to start this also very soon, since, be nice to start ticking my list off of intentions, of the new year. But yeah, I would highly recommend. She's very, very responsive. She's got an Etsy store. Yeah, you can find her on Etsy. And she hails from Canada. So yeah, I'm waiting, I'm just waiting for a little bit of time to dive into that as well. All right, I think that's going to do it for me today. Hope all of your crafting is going well for the new year. And I can't believe, it feels like I haven't been here in a while, but it has only been 2 weeks. So I'm going to try to keep to that schedule unless something gets in my way. So yeah, and until the next time, 2 weeks from now, happy crafting, take care of yourselves, and we'll see you then.